Hey guys, what's up? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of Food Wars: The Fifth Plate, which is on episode 6, or you could call it Shokugeki no Souma, Go Nosara, which is on episode 6. Anyways, this episode right here. Now, one of the things that showed up in this episode was one of the few major problems, or possibly more. I mean, I've been trying to do my fair share of research if this could really be possible, and so far, from where I'm trying to understand and when I was looking into it, not so much. Or I should say, not at all. So, I'm pretty sure you guys might be asking me, okay, what the hell are you even talking about, dude? You're, making very big, vague confusion right here. I'll get to that just a moment, okay? Let's just get this recap started, and honestly, like I said, if I watched this with a giant audience in the movie theater or something, or in any big room, I'd be laughing my butt off so bad that people would tell me to shut up. I know that for sure. Anyways, let's just get this started right away. Sorry for wasting a lot of time. Anyways, we get to see this woman who has that freaking crazy chainsaw kind of knife in a certain way, and it looks like to me it's a little troubling at first, but but not so much for anyone else, possibly in general, you know. But aside from that, we had to it that Nikumi was actually with Yukihira and was actually behind Yukihira and realizes that she's actually chainsawing things up, and she's actually doing things in a regular way at a certain point, you know. And we have to it, and Nikumi shows up and says, but she's being extremely precise with the heat. She's using the umami of the juices to its fullest, and realizes that it was Nikumi there. We have to it that when it came to Noir, a lot of people were kind of asking they don't allow an audience at the Blue until the main event, you know, that kind of thing. But apparently we have to it that Nikumi decides to explain a lot of things to Aldini, Yukihira, and Megumi about the Noir, you know, the underworld chefs whatsoever. And it's all thanks to Aizen Senpai's connection of networks, you know. And we have to it that the woman who's it looks like an army soldier or something ends up using her chainsaw, and they go what? She's cooking with a chainsaw? Even I would be conflicted about this. But we have to it, she's not really harming it at all, you know? She's cutting it in a nice, precise way, I guess. And we get to know that some of the chefs tried out her dish and realizes that it's very good, you know? And we have to it that she actually applied seasoning spices on each of her claws on the blade, you know, which she managed to rip apart. Which she's able to rip apart the meat, and those spices enter the very fibers of the meat. She managed to create something delicious on multiple levels that couldn't be made with normal methods, you know. Even some other judges who were actually in the first season, who was actually in the second season and third season, you know, realizes that this is really crazy. This deliciousness is on a specialties level whatsoever, and one of the judges says if she missed even by a few millimeters, the meat's fibers would have been torn apart, destroying the meat's juices and texture. The technique she used on this dish was violent yet extremely light scoring, you know? And her name is Sarge, and she's the master of chain carving knives whatsoever, and the master of an armed dish. And I'm thinking in my mind, what? Yeah. And we have to it that we see a clown making his dish, you know, and he ends up using something of a circus ball whatsoever, special parts that become a ball, and when you put them together, all the spinning creates a centrifugal force, you know, and there's a heating element inside that grills the meat. So together, those forces keep the meat under a set of pressure, heating it equally throughout, and because of that, the meat ends up far more tender than any standard pressure cooker could make, you know. So this clown ends up using some special circus ball-like thing that has some kind of function in it where it's able to cook it up every time you spin it. I'm like, what? And because of that, you know, the meat ends up far more tender than any standard pressure could make it. You know, he's known as the kitchen clown Marcanta. You know, he's the master of the circus dish. And we have to it that we see another Noir member who's actually using any meat's blood becomes the best broth and the greatest seasoning, you know? And we have to that he's sucking up the blood very fast, and he's known as the Crimson Executioner Claude Ville, you know? Master of the blood dish. And we see, and of course, Aldini brings in the information where there are countless dishes that emphasize the deliciousness of blood, you know? But to think he made something that high quality so fast. And there's a bunny girl that we saw in the last episode ends up using a guillotine. And she has this thing about being very sadistic, and she has muscles in her body, you know. And Nikumi says like this woman is the guillotine woman known as the bouncing maniac bunny hair. She's the master of sadistic dishes or something, you know. And we have to it, of course, that Marcanta, Claude, Bunny, and let's see here, Tommy Revolver, they all pass, you know. And of course, Aishi, along with Megumi, along with Aldini, and Yukihiro Soma ends up like passing as well. No problem, you know. And we have to it that like Asahi could smile at the satisfaction to see how they all passed, you know, especially Yukihiro Soma or Tsukasa Aishi. Also, not to mention, we have to it that before the first match begins, Yukihiro Soma decides to go head off somewhere, and Nikumi tells Yukihiro there's a revenge match, that there's a chef that's giving people a second chance to actually like try again. But this person is actually beating all of them, which Yukihiro Soma's like, really? Who is this person? And we have to it. I go like, looks like he doesn't know, but we all know it's Nakiri Eina who's actually doing all the work by beating all these chefs, you know, which is really crazy. Aside from that, Yukihiro Soma ends up getting his like first notification about his first match, you know, and we have to it that that Yukihiro Soma gets ready to faces off against Noir, Sergeant of Noir, you know, Sarge, and you know Totsuki Elite 10, which is Yukihiro Soma. And she goes like, well, I have no reason to fear someone who actually lost to Asahi-sama. And we have to it that like, oh, you have a connection to Asahi? What's up? She goes like, that's not your concern. Focus on yourself. You hear me? And we have to it that we get to know about this Sarge person who actually lost to Asahi, you know, and eventually wants her to join his crew whatsoever after she lost. And we have to it that the one who will be judging Yukihira and Crazy Chainsaw Lady is Educated Trunkant and Adjudicator Matarit and Adjudicator Essor, you know. And we have to it that their theme is to create the ultimate Christmas cake, which will be the life of the party. And you have 3 hours, you know. And everybody's and the judges are in the Christmas theme kind of thing, which is really hilarious, which I go like, okay. And we have to it that this sergeant lady says, I will now show you the true meaning of the armed dish, you know. And we have to it that she put egg whites and granulated sugar in the bowl, and later on she's making a delicate meringue with the chainsaw she's using. The blade she is using is actually very slightly different, the one that she prepared for the meat dish. Like, it appears to have intricate attachments that she could change depending on the dish, you know? And what she's using is that's how she was able to create such fine foam and beautiful meringue, you know? And of course the judge says, yeah, one wrong move and that bowl could have been sent flying, and then she could have been sent flying, you know? But she has complete control as she's preparing the dish. And we get to see to it that the chainsaw carving she's using knife is able to bake a cake too. And she ends up using a sledgehammer by smashing a lot of chocolate, you know. And she ends up using the final touches that involves an explosion with the microwaves, but at the same time it had the microwave thingy, my bobbers, has like thin sheets of resembling pastry sheets in the oven, you know. She says, hey, I want you guys to cover your ears whatsoever, and the moment she explodes it, there's a sweet aroma of baked pastry sheets has filled the arena, you know. And later on, the cake is shown, you know, and we have to it that Yukihiro Soma was absent most of the time by grabbing other supplies, you know. And the judges are going to will now taste the dish, and one of the judges is, wow, this is the mouthfeel is soft as snow. The crunchy pastry sheets baked in the special explosion oven have been stacked with the mille feuillet or something, you know. As soon as you take a bite, the sheets melt in your mouth along with the sweet, delicate meringue created with the chainsaw, you know. And she goes like, wow, what's this? Suddenly there's a rich sweetness exploding in my mouth. And she also explains by saying, I call them clustered chocolate chips, you know. I mixed chocolate, almond powder, and mint together, then froze it to give it an extra crunch, you know. Then, after shattering it with my sledgehammer, I mixed it with the pastry sheets and exploded them at the perfect temperature. Because of that, the pastry sheets shielded the chocolate from the blast, turning the consistency and texture into baked chocolate rather than melting it. Once you eat it, it causes continuous blast in your mouth. That is my clustered bomb cake, you know, etc. And We had two of the judges actually rate this very greatly by saying the exquisite meringue made with the chainsaw, the explosively delicious pastry sheets, and the clustered chocolate chips created with the sledgehammer. This is truly an armed dish, you know? New, merry, happy New Year's kind of thing, Christmas theme. And we have to it that Yukihiro Souma shows up and says, hey, your chainsaw is pretty cool, you know? But you see, I have a chainsaw of my own, which is a freaking, like, ice cream wooden scooper. No, I'm not playing. If you guys watch the episode, you'll get the idea. Not gonna lie, I was expecting something crazy Yukihiro would be doing, and it's making me laugh so badly right now, man. I mean, we all know Yukihiro Souma is crazy when it comes to creating his own dishes altogether, you know? And everyone's like, that's your chainsaw? Are you kidding me? She goes like, hey, are you freaking mocking me or what? He goes like, oh no, I'm not mocking you at all. You see here, it's not just a wooden spoon I have, okay? All the stuff I bought at the convenience store should act as a deciding factor in my dish. I hope the party guys don't mind waiting a little longer, okay? I'll make you a freaking super duper cake that's perfect for summer. And she goes like, dude, are you serious right now? She even has that look on her face going like, who is this kid, man? Like, is this the guy that really fought Asahi and lost? Shouldn't be a big deal. But we have to it. He goes like, okay, first I need some cream that can go up against the meringue. And he ends up using soy milk and silken tofu, you know? And he's mixing them together with bananas and cocoa powder. And then Aldini's like, he'll definitely be able to make a unique cream with that kind of thing. As for the batter, I'll be using this. And everyone's like, are you serious? Japanese yam. And we have to that Yukihiro Souma is making his ingredient, and we have to that the Sarge is like, hold up, he's mixing grated yam into the cake batter? What's going on? And Yukihiro Souma will later on use charcoal and barbecuing it, you know? They go like, oh yeah, I smell a sizzling robust scent. It's charcoal. He's baking the cake batter with charcoal. It's true that the far infrared rays from the charcoal should bake a cake nice and fluffy, you know? And they go like, I'm not sure how Japanese cooking methods will work with the cake making though. And even Tsukasa-san, who was the former first seat, goes like, you know, not bad, kid. He's perfecting his dish one step at a time. And Nikumi's like, you know, I've seen this guy work so many times. It's such a difficult task, but he looks very happy and lively. And we had to it that someone finishes his cake, and Saiba Asahi's like, huh? Interesting. It has fireworks shells, and later on, we see his cake finished product in full picture, and it's called Yukihiro style Midsummer Christmas cake, you know? And preview next episode is called Crossed Knives, you know, that kind of thing. So, I'm pretty sure you guys might be asking me, like, so what was the major problems that was kind of confusing for you, or that made you feel conflicted about this series in this final arc that you always mention about? It's the chainsaw, okay? I've been looking, I decided to go look into research and see how people could cook with a chainsaw, and it's ridiculous that that doesn't happen at all, dude. Not to mention the circus ball centrifuge kind of thing. Try to look that up in a logic reality sense. That doesn't seem like a thing. Maybe the guillotine might be reasonable, but I don't know if that's even possible either. So, yeah. Even though, like, I think the chainsaw was one of the big major problems, I guess. Maybe the other situations might not be so much, but all I know is the chainsaw was one of the few major problems in this final arc, because how are you supposed to cook with a chainsaw? Right now, with that kind of cooking like that, I highly doubt you could even make anything good with that thing, especially if you're trying to, I don't know, cook with that thing. So like I said, I think many people could agree with me that the chainsaw became one of the major problems in the final arc. Aside from maybe Asahi himself, you know, I mean, all things considered, combined together, yeah. But aside from that, you know, Yukihiro Souma, you know, even though he's usually crazy logic when it comes to like certain cooking methods, but that's who he is, and that's what I like about him, you know, etc. Anyways, simple episode, you know, I mean, without a lot of detail, you know, all the Noir members show off their skills and they pass with flying colors. Yukihiro Souma, Megumi, Aldini, and Tsukasa Eishi managed to get to the next stage and start the tournament. Yukihiro Souma goes up against like Noir Sarge, and they end up facing each other. Noir Sarge's cake is very well known, even with her crazy techniques of chainsawing, explosion, and sledgehammering. And Yukihiro Souma, it looks like to me he has a different kind of style, which many people are like saying, what the heck is he doing kind of thing, you know? But yeah. Anyways, like I said, next episode is cross knives. Don't know how this is gonna go, but it's gonna be a little hectic. But until then, people, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm off this little. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot!